A human guard arrives and the alien queen freezes. He resembles her lost husband. Its buildings glowed in soft shades of blue and violet, reflecting light like living gemstones. From above, the city looked like a delicate web, carefully constructed, with streams of luminescent energy flowing between the towers. The streets were calm at this hour, as most Zalarians preferred the quiet of morning for reflection and planning. High in her palace, Queen Lysera stood on a balcony, looking out over the city. Her green eyes, bright and intelligent, seemed to catch every detail. Yet despite the beauty around her, there was a shadow in her gaze. It had been many years since she felt completely happy. Her people respected her, her advisors obeyed her, and her empire prospered, but a part of her heart was missing. She had lost someone she loved deeply, a human man who had once come into her life in a way that changed it forever. He had been her closest friend, her confidant, her husband in spirit, and then, without warning, he had disappeared. The loss had left a quiet emptiness in her heart. She had ruled wisely since then, but there were moments when the memory of his smile, his calm words, and his kindness returned unbidden, and she felt as if a piece of her soul had gone missing with him. She thought she had accepted it, but sometimes, late at night, the loneliness returned like a silent echo. On this particular morning, an unusual event was about to change everything. A ship from Earth had arrived, bringing humans to the planet for the first time in decades. Most Zalarians were cautious of humans. They were unpredictable, often acting on emotion rather than logic, and many Zalarians believed humans were too fragile for diplomacy at a galactic scale. But the Queen's advisors had insisted on sending a human delegation, and now the ship glided gracefully into the landing zone below the palace. The ship was sleek, silver, and compact, its surface shimmering with reflective panels. It carried a small group of humans, each carefully selected for their skills and demeanor. Among them was Ethan, a human guard assigned to protect the delegation and, if needed, the Queen herself. He was tall and strong, with a calm confidence that made him seem larger than life. His dark hair and steady gaze gave him a sense of reliability, and his quiet manner showed that he was thoughtful and careful. Unlike many humans, he did not rush, did not boast, and did not seek attention. He simply moved with purpose, like someone who belonged exactly where he was. As Ethan stepped out of the ship, he felt the eyes of the Zalarians on him. They observed every detail, the way he walked, how he carried himself, the careful way he adjusted the strap of his equipment. Ethan knew they were judging him, but he did not feel fear. Instead, he felt curiosity and respect for a culture so different from his own. The city was beautiful, but it was unfamiliar, and he wanted to understand it before he acted. The palace gates opened, and the delegation entered. Ethan led the way, keeping a careful watch on the surroundings. The halls of the palace were wide and luminous, with walls that shimmered like pearls. Light flowed from unseen sources, creating soft glows that made the entire building feel alive. The human delegation moved in awe, noting the strange shapes and colors, but Ethan remained focused. He had a duty, and he took it seriously. When they reached the throne room, the tension in the air changed. The room was immense, its ceilings stretching high above, adorned with crystal chandeliers that pulsed with light. Queen Lysera sat on her throne, regal and composed, surrounded by advisors and guards. She wore a flowing gown of silver and green, and her posture was perfect, her eyes sharp as ever. But when her gaze fell on Ethan, something unusual happened. She froze. Ethan paused mid-step, noticing her sudden stillness. He could feel the weight of her attention, intense and personal, as if she were trying to place him in some memory he could not know existed. There was a moment of silence, filled with tension and curiosity. The other humans were unsure what to do, sensing something strange but not understanding its cause. The Zalarian guards shifted slightly, exchanging puzzled glances. Ethan stepped forward again, careful to bow respectfully without seeming submissive. He had been trained to read situations like this, to act calmly and professionally even when emotions ran high. "Greetings, Your Majesty," he said softly. "I am Ethan, assigned as your guard and as part of the delegation from Earth. It is an honor to be here." The Queen blinked, her mind racing. His voice, the calmness, the tone, the very way he spoke was familiar. She had not heard it in decades, yet it stirred memories she thought were long buried. The way he held himself, the subtle tilt of his head, the careful attention he paid to his surroundings, it all reminded her of him, of her husband. Her advisors noticed her reaction and stepped forward cautiously. "Your Majesty," one said softly, "is everything all right?" Lysera forced herself to regain composure. She gave a small nod. "Yes," she said, her voice steady but tinged with surprise. "We are honored to welcome our guests." Still, she could not take her eyes off Ethan. There was something about him, something beyond mere resemblance. It was as if the essence of the man she had loved so long ago had somehow returned, embodied in this new human. Her heart beat faster, and for the first time in many years, she felt a spark of hope. Ethan, for his part, was unaware of the personal connection. He noted her scrutiny, but assumed it was part of the normal curiosity of meeting a new species. Yet, he felt an unusual warmth from her gaze, a quiet attention that made him more aware of his actions. He adjusted his stance slightly, ensuring his movements were smooth and respectful. The rest of the delegation began introductions, exchanging polite greetings with the Queen and her advisors. Discussions about trade, culture, and exploration took place, but Lysera found it hard to focus. Her mind kept returning to Ethan, to the strange familiarity that left her both unsettled and hopeful. Every small gesture he made, every careful word, reminded her of the life she had lost. After the formal introductions, Lysera requested a private moment with Ethan. She was not sure what she intended to say, only that she needed to understand this unexpected feeling. She excused herself from the throne room and led him through quieter halls of the palace. The walls shimmered gently, and soft light guided their path. The sound of their footsteps echoed slightly, the only noise in the serene corridor. When they reached a secluded chamber, Lysera turned to face him. Her eyes, so full of intelligence and unspoken emotion, met his. "Ethan," she said quietly, "there is something about you, something familiar." Ethan tilted his head, sensing her hesitation. "I am not sure I understand, Your Majesty," he said politely. "I am simply here to serve and observe. If I have caused any discomfort, I apologize." Lysera shook her head. "No, it is not discomfort. It is memory. You remind me of someone I once knew, someone very important. I do not understand how, but your presence brings back feelings I thought were long gone." Ethan felt a subtle warmth in his chest, though he did not know why. There was something in her words, something gentle and sincere, that made him want to understand more. He bowed slightly. "I am honored, Your Majesty. I hope my presence can be a comfort rather than a cause of confusion." For the first time in many years, Lysera smiled. It was small and quiet, but it carried a depth of emotion she rarely showed in public. "Perhaps," she said, "this meeting is not merely by chance. Perhaps there is a reason you have come here, even if we do not yet understand it." The rest of the day passed with careful observation. Ethan learned about the palace routines, the Zalarian customs, and the small but significant details that marked life in this alien city. Lysera watched him, noticing his patience, his intelligence, and the calm dignity he carried in every interaction. There was no pride, no arrogance, no haste, only a careful, steady presence. As the sun set, casting soft shades of pink and gold across the crystal towers, Lysera stood once more on the balcony. Ethan was nearby, quietly observing the city alongside her. There was a moment of shared silence, a quiet connection that needed no words. She realized that humans were not simply fragile or unpredictable. In Ethan, she saw courage, understanding, and an innate sense of morality that resonated deeply with her. And in that moment, Lysera felt something she had not felt in many years. Hope. Hope that the universe could still hold surprises. Hope that human spirit could bring light to even the most complex of worlds. And perhaps, just perhaps, hope that what she had lost long ago might find a new form, carried forward in this unexpected human who had arrived at her palace on a quiet morning. The palace lights dimmed, but Lysera's heart remained bright with curiosity and anticipation. A human guard had arrived, and already the entire world seemed different. The morning light filtered through the crystal windows of Queen Lysera's private chambers, painting delicate patterns across the smooth, luminous floor. The quiet hum of the palace surrounded her, yet the serenity of the hour did little to calm the stirrings in her heart. She moved slowly toward the balcony, her eyes tracing the streets below. Life in the city continued as always, but today something felt different. There was an unfamiliar energy, a small pulse in the air that she could not name. Her thoughts drifted inevitably to Ethan, the human guard who had arrived the day before. Even in the short time she had observed him, he had already changed something inside her. She remembered the first moment she had seen him in the throne room, how he carried himself, calm and confident, yet humble and attentive. There was a quiet dignity in every movement, a patience in his gaze that reminded her of someone long gone, someone she had loved deeply and lost too soon. That human, her husband, had been unlike anyone else in the galaxy. He had brought warmth into her life in a world that often valued power over compassion. With him, she had laughed, shared her fears, and felt a closeness that transcended their different species. And then, one day, he had vanished. The official reports had said it was an accident during a diplomatic mission, but the Queen had always suspected otherwise. The truth had been lost, buried in the depths of time and the complexity of the universe. Now, standing quietly on the balcony, Lysera felt those memories come alive again. She recalled the soft smile he used to give when he solved a problem in an unexpected way, his gentle way of comforting her during moments of doubt, and the unspoken connection that had bound them together. The resemblance between him and Ethan was uncanny. Not only in appearance, but in the subtle expressions, the calm confidence, the thoughtful movements. Every detail brought back flashes of her past, moments she thought she had long left behind. Her advisors often noticed the melancholy that sometimes shadowed her eyes, but no one had ever seen her linger in reflection as she did now. She wondered if the universe had conspired to bring this human to her, a reminder of something she thought she would never have again. But there was also uncertainty. Could it really be coincidence, or was there something deeper at play? Ethan, meanwhile, had begun settling into his duties in the palace. He was careful to observe, to learn, and to respect the customs of the Xylarians. Each morning, he would accompany the Queen on her rounds, ensuring her safety and quietly assisting with small tasks, from carrying documents to helping her navigate the palace's intricate halls. He had quickly gained the respect of the palace staff, not through words or force, but through his steady presence and thoughtful actions. On the second day, he approached the Queen with a small device, a portable translator that could help humans communicate more clearly with the Xylarians. "Your Majesty," he said gently, "I thought this might help during meetings and discussions. I hope it is useful." Lysera took the device, her fingers brushing his for a brief moment. A small spark of recognition, or perhaps something more, passed between them. She held it for a moment longer than necessary, feeling a strange warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you, Ethan," she said softly. "Your thoughtfulness is appreciated." He inclined his head. "I am here to help in any way I can. It is an honor to serve." There was a pause filled with quiet understanding. Neither spoke for a few moments, but the connection was tangible. Lysera felt as though the universe had paused with them, allowing a small fragment of her past to touch the present. Later that day, she called for a private conversation. The palace halls were quieter now, the soft hum of energy and distant footsteps the only sound. Ethan followed respectfully, curious but patient. He did not know what the Queen would say, only that she wished to speak with him alone. When they entered her private study, Lysera gestured for him to sit. The room was warm and inviting, with soft light reflecting off the crystal walls. She took a deep breath and began to speak, her voice calm but layered with emotion. "Ethan, I must confess something to you. Your presence, it awakens memories I thought were lost. Memories of a human who was once very dear to me. He helped me, guided me, and in many ways changed my life. And in you, I see echoes of him." Ethan listened carefully, unsure how to respond. He had never met this woman's husband, yet he felt the weight of her words. "Your Majesty," he said, "I am honored that you trust me with your story. I do not know if I can live up to it, but I will do my best to respect the memory and your trust." Lysera smiled faintly, touched by his sincerity. "It is not a matter of living up to it," she said. "It is simply that life sometimes offers reminders of what we have loved and lost. Perhaps you are one such reminder, perhaps more than that. I cannot yet say." Over the next few days, Ethan continued to serve the Queen, and their bond deepened. It was subtle at first. Shared glances during council meetings, a quiet understanding in their conversations, and moments when they worked together seamlessly to solve problems. The Queen noticed his curiosity and thoughtfulness, qualities that reminded her of the human she had once known. Ethan, in turn, began to feel a strange familiarity with the Queen, though he could not yet explain it. There was comfort in her presence, a sense of calm and understanding that felt rare in the galaxy. One afternoon, Lysera led Ethan to the palace gardens, a vast, suspended space filled with luminous flowers and soft, flowing streams of water. The air was fragrant with alien blooms, and the gentle rustle of leaves created a peaceful rhythm. Here, away from the eyes of the court and the noise of the city, the queen felt safe to share more of her story. She spoke of her past, of her husband's kindness, and the days they had spent exploring new worlds together. She told him about his courage, his gentle wisdom, and the small acts of thoughtfulness that had left lasting impressions on her heart. Ethan listened intently, absorbing each word with care. Though he had no memory of these events, he felt a strange resonance, as if some part of him was connected to her past in ways he could not yet understand. "You remind me of him," Lysera said quietly, watching his reaction. "Not in exact ways, but in essence. In the way you think, in the way you carry yourself, in the kindness you show. It is both comforting and confusing." Ethan nodded slowly, feeling the weight of her words. "I do not know if I could ever be like him, Your Majesty. But I promise to honor your trust and to be mindful of your guidance. If I can bring even a small measure of comfort or support, I will do so willingly." Lysera's heart lifted at his response. There was no arrogance, no selfishness, only a sincere willingness to help. In that moment, she felt hope stirring, hope that the human spirit she had cherished so deeply in the past could still have a place in her life and in her world. As the days passed, their connection grew stronger, built on shared experiences and quiet understanding. Ethan observed the palace and the city, learning the customs and adapting with care, while Lysera watched him with a mixture of curiosity and cautious optimism. She began to recognize that humanity had qualities her people admired, but often did not fully understand. Resilience, empathy, and a moral strength that guided their choices even in unfamiliar situations. One evening, as the twin moons rose over Zalaria, Lysera and Ethan walked along the palace balcony. The city below was bathed in soft silver light, and the air was filled with a calm stillness. Lysera felt a strange sense of peace. For the first time in many years, the weight of her past seemed less burdensome. "Ethan," she said softly, "I do not know what the future holds, but I feel that perhaps the universe has given me a gift. Not the past itself, but a reminder of what was good, what was kind, what was noble. You carry it with you, and for that I am grateful." Ethan looked at her, feeling the depth of her words. "Your Majesty," he replied, "I am honored to be here. I do not fully understand the connection, but I will do my best to live in a way that respects it and honors your trust." And so, the days continued, filled with quiet lessons, shared experiences, and a growing bond between human and queen. Each moment brought them closer, not as replacements for the past, but as living reminders that goodness, courage, and understanding could transcend time and space. Lysera began to see the possibility of new beginnings, not as a way to replace what she had lost, but as a way to carry it forward in a meaningful and hopeful way. The city of Zalaria continued to hum with life below, unaware of the small but profound changes taking place within the palace. But for the queen and the human guard, each day brought new understanding, new lessons, and new hope. The memories of the past were no longer a weight to bear alone. They had become a bridge, connecting what had been lost to what could still be. And in the quiet moments, when the palace was still and the stars shone brightly in the sky, Queen Lysera allowed herself to imagine a future filled with possibility, guided by the unexpected arrival of a human who reminded her of the beauty and strength of the human spirit. Palace of Zalaria glimmered under the light of the twin suns, each tower reflecting warm hues of gold and violet. Within the vast halls, Queen Lysera moved with her usual grace, yet her mind was occupied with thoughts of the human guard, Ethan. His presence in the palace had stirred something in her, a mixture of curiosity, nostalgia, and cautious hope. She had watched him carefully over the past days, noting how he navigated the complex world of her court with patience and insight. Today, however, would be different. The queen had decided it was time to observe him in a situation that tested not only his skills but his character. The Zalarian Empire, though largely peaceful, faced a delicate matter. A neighboring species, the Korathi, had expressed interest in a trade alliance. The negotiations were to take place soon, and the queen wanted to ensure that the human delegation, particularly Ethan, could adapt to the unexpected challenges that often arose in such situations. Ethan had been briefed on the mission earlier that morning. Though he had been trained for security and diplomacy, Nothing could fully prepare him for the subtle political currents of an alien empire. He adjusted the strap of his satchel, ensuring his tools and translator devices were within reach, and took a deep breath. He trusted in his training, his instincts, and the human qualities that had guided him through challenges before: observation, empathy, and patience. As he entered the strategy chamber, Lysera watched from a nearby balcony, observing silently. The chamber was circular, lined with holographic displays of trade routes, resource maps, and diplomatic records. Zalarian advisors moved about with precise efficiency, their every gesture calculated and purposeful. Ethan paused at the entrance, taking a moment to absorb the information. He did not rush. He scanned the room, listened carefully to the advisor's suggestions, and considered each piece of information with thoughtfulness. The first test came unexpectedly. One of the advisors raised a concern about the Korathi delegation's cultural practices. They had a custom of ceremonial gifts, and the advisor feared that a misstep could be interpreted as disrespect. Ethan suggested a simple solution: a small gift, created using Zalaria's natural resources, designed to honor both traditions. The proposal was practical, respectful, and demonstrated understanding of the Korathi culture. The advisors exchanged glances, impressed by the human's perceptive approach. Lysera felt a subtle thrill. His thinking mirrored qualities she had once admired in her husband: careful consideration, empathy, and a sense of fairness that transcended species. She allowed herself a quiet smile, noting that the human was not only observant, but also creative in ways that inspired trust. The next challenge involved negotiation simulations. Ethan was asked to role-play with holographic projections of Korathi diplomats. The projections presented difficult scenarios, unexpected demands, subtle hints of mistrust, and unusual requests. Many Zalarians relied solely on logic, responding rigidly to problems. Ethan, however, approached each scenario with patience. He listened carefully, asked clarifying questions, and sought solutions that were mutually beneficial. At one point, a projection simulated a situation where resources were limited, and a difficult choice had to be made. Ethan paused, considering the ethical implications and long-term consequences. Instead of choosing a solution that maximized immediate gain, he suggested a compromise that ensured fairness and respected both sides' needs. The Zalarian advisors were visibly impressed. His decisions demonstrated a moral compass, one that valued integrity as much as efficiency, a rare quality in the galaxy. Lysera observed quietly, noting the subtle signs of character she had hoped to see. The human's actions revealed patience, empathy, and respect, qualities that the Queen valued deeply. It reminded her of the husband she had loved, the one who had faced challenges with both courage and compassion. She allowed herself a fleeting thought: perhaps humans were more than she had once believed. After the simulations, the Queen invited Ethan to walk through the palace gardens with her. The gardens were filled with exotic plants and softly glowing streams, their serene beauty a perfect backdrop for quiet conversation. Lysera spoke first, her voice calm but thoughtful. "Ethan," she began, "your approach today was remarkable. You handled challenges that could have seemed overwhelming to someone unfamiliar with our customs. Your insight, patience, and fairness, they remind me of qualities I thought rare, even in humans." Ethan looked at her, feeling a quiet sense of pride, tempered by humility. "Your Majesty," he said, "I do not claim to be perfect, but I try to listen, to understand, and to act with respect. I believe that every decision, no matter how small, can affect the people around us. I hope my actions today honored your trust and the people I serve." Lysera's eyes softened. "You have honored more than my trust, Ethan. You have reminded me that the human spirit is capable of wisdom, compassion, and understanding, even across the vastness of space. You have qualities I once admired in someone very dear to me." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a messenger. The Korathi delegation had arrived earlier than expected, eager to begin the formal negotiations. Ethan followed Lysera into the ceremonial chamber, maintaining a calm and respectful demeanor. The Korathi envoys were formal, their customs unfamiliar, but Ethan adapted quickly. He observed their gestures, listened carefully, and responded with thoughtfulness that earned nods of approval from both the Queen and her advisors. During the negotiations, a delicate issue arose. The Korathi had requested an unusual trade agreement, one that could have caused minor tension if handled incorrectly. Many advisors hesitated, unsure how to respond. Ethan spoke up, suggesting a compromise that honored both cultures' practices while maintaining fairness. His words were simple, clear, and considerate, bridging the gap between two species' traditions. The Korathi envoys accepted, visibly pleased with the resolution. Lysera watched quietly, her heart swelling with admiration. This human, so different from her people, was demonstrating courage, intelligence, and empathy in ways that few could. She realized that humans, though sometimes underestimated, possessed qualities that could change the course of events in profound ways. And in Ethan, she saw a reflection of the man she had once loved, the same careful thought, moral integrity, and understanding of others' needs. After the ceremony, the queen led Ethan back to the palace gardens. The evening sky was painted in shades of pink and purple, and the soft glow of the palace lights reflected in the streams below. Lysera spoke quietly, her voice filled with sincerity. Ethan, today you have proven not only your skill but also your character. You have shown respect, insight, and compassion. These are qualities that many strive for, yet few truly achieve. I am grateful that you are here. Ethan bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, it is an honor to serve and to learn. I hope that my presence brings value and that I may continue to support you and your people. Lysera smiled, a rare expression of genuine warmth. You have already done more than you realize. The qualities you display remind me of something I thought I had lost. Perhaps they are a reminder that goodness and understanding can endure, even across time and space. For the first time, Ethan felt a sense of belonging within the palace. He was not just a visitor or a guard, he was trusted and respected. He realized that his human traits, patience, empathy, and a desire to act with fairness were being recognized in a way that felt profound. And though he did not fully understand why, he felt a quiet connection with the queen, as if their paths had been intertwined for a purpose beyond simple duty. The next morning, Lysera invited Ethan to join her for a private walk through the observation terraces. From there, they could see the entirety of Zalaria, the flowing rivers of energy, the shimmering towers, and the distant mountains that framed the horizon. The city sparkled like a living jewel, and the hum of activity below was both comforting and inspiring. You have adapted quickly, Lysera said, her voice gentle. Not only to our customs, but to the spirit of this place. You see more than what is apparent. You understand in small ways the essence of the people and the land. Ethan nodded. I observe carefully, Your Majesty. I listen, I learn, and I try to act with thought. I have been trained for duty, yes, but I also believe that understanding others is as important as any skill or tool. Lysera's gaze softened. It is rare to find such wisdom. You remind me that there is value in patience and empathy, even when others may overlook them. You have brought a light into this palace, a human light that is both unexpected and welcome. As the day progressed, Ethan continued to assist the queen in her duties, demonstrating reliability, intelligence, and quiet courage. Every decision he made reflected the qualities she admired: careful thought, ethical consideration, and respect for all beings. The queen could not help but feel a growing admiration for him, tempered with curiosity and wonder. By the end of the day, as the twin moons rose over the horizon, Lysera and Ethan stood on the balcony, watching the city glow beneath them. The soft light reflected in Ethan's eyes, and Lysera felt a sense of calm and possibility. She realized that this human, though not her husband, embodied qualities that could bring hope, understanding, and new beginnings to her life and her empire. In that quiet moment, she allowed herself to imagine a future where humans and Zalarians could work together in harmony, guided by trust, respect, and shared values. And she recognized that Ethan, in his quiet and steady way, was already helping to make that future possible. The palace lights dimmed, the city below continued to hum with life, and Queen Lysera felt a sense of reassurance. A human had arrived, tested by challenges, and proven not only his abilities but also the strength of his character. And in doing so, he had reminded her of the power of trust, compassion, and the enduring human spirit. The morning air was cool and crisp in the palace gardens. The soft glow of the crystal towers reflected in the streams of water, creating a quiet serenity that felt almost magical. Queen Lysera walked slowly along the winding paths, her thoughts heavy with the memories of the past and the unusual presence of the human guard, Ethan. Over the days, she had observed him carefully. His calmness, his patience, and the quiet wisdom in his actions reminded her so much of someone she had lost long ago. She reached a small pavilion surrounded by flowers that glowed softly in shades of blue and pink. Ethan was already there, tending to a small arrangement of floating lights that illuminated the pavilion. He turned as she approached, his expression polite but curious. "Good morning, Your Majesty," Ethan said. "I hope I am not disturbing you." Lysera shook her head and smiled gently. "Not at all. I wanted to speak with you in private away from the distractions of the palace." Ethan nodded and stepped aside. The pavilion was peaceful, the air filled with a gentle hum of energy from the plants and water. They sat together, the soft light casting patterns across their faces. Lysera took a deep breath, realizing that it was time to reveal something she had kept hidden for many years. "Ethan," she began softly, "there is a story I must share with you. It is not easy for me, but I believe you deserve to know." Ethan's expression remained calm, his eyes attentive. "I am listening, Your Majesty," he replied. Lysera's gaze softened as she looked at him. "Many years ago, before you arrived, I had a human in my life. He was unlike anyone I had ever met. He was kind, thoughtful, and brave in ways that were rare. He helped me understand trust and friendship across species, and he became very dear to me. He was my husband in spirit, though our time together was brief. And then he disappeared." Ethan listened carefully, feeling the weight of her words. Though he did not know this man, he sensed the depth of the Queen's connection and the sadness she carried. "I am sorry, Your Majesty," he said quietly. "It must have been very difficult to lose someone so important." Lysera nodded, her green eyes reflecting both sorrow and fond remembrance. "It was. I often wondered if I would ever see anything like him again, and now you are here." Ethan tilted his head slightly, unsure what she meant. "I do not understand, Your Majesty." "I am simply here to serve and assist." Lysera reached out, placing her hand gently on the back of his. "I know," she said, "and yet there is something in you, your presence, your calmness, the way you think and act, it reminds me of him. Not exactly, of course, but in ways that are deeply familiar. It is both comforting and confusing." Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. He did not know why, but he sensed a connection that went beyond simple words. "Your Majesty," he said softly, "I do not know why I remind you of him, but I promise to honor your trust and to do my best in all that I am asked to do." Lysera smiled faintly. "That is all I could hope for." Over the next several days, Ethan and the Queen spent more time together in the gardens and observation terraces. They shared quiet conversations about the city, the palace, and the customs of Zalaria. Ethan asked questions, curious about the alien culture, and Lysera shared insights, careful to teach without overwhelming him. She noticed how he listened, absorbed information, and adapted gracefully to situations that others might find confusing or challenging. One afternoon, as they walked along a terrace overlooking the city, Lysera spoke again. "Ethan, there is more I must tell you. You may find this strange, but it is important for you to understand your connection to the past." Ethan's brow furrowed slightly. "I am listening, Your Majesty. Please tell me." Lysera looked out over the city, gathering her thoughts. "Before you arrived, my husband, your predecessor in a sense, was part of early human missions to the galaxy. He came here to help form alliances, to teach understanding, and to guide cooperation between species. He was extraordinary, and now I believe there is a possibility that you are connected to him in ways that I cannot yet fully explain." Ethan was silent for a moment, trying to process her words. "Are you saying I might be related to him?" Lysera nodded. "It is possible. I cannot be certain without proof, but the resemblance and your qualities are striking. It is as if the essence of what he stood for lives on in you." The revelation left Ethan both surprised and curious. He had never known about his possible connection to these early missions, and yet, hearing the Queen speak with such certainty stirred something within him. I will do whatever I can to honor that connection," he said. "If I am in some way carrying his legacy, I will make sure it is one worthy of respect and trust." Lysera's eyes glimmered with emotion. "You already have, Ethan. Simply by being yourself, you have reminded me of the goodness, courage, and thoughtfulness that humans can offer. You have brought hope to this palace and to my heart in ways I never expected." From that moment, the bond between them deepened. They began to share more of their thoughts and ideas, not just about the past, but about the future. Lysera spoke of her vision for the Zalarian Empire, for peace and collaboration across the galaxy, and Ethan listened, offering insights and perspectives that were both human and uniquely his own. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the horizon, they sat together in the observation deck. The city sparkled below, alive with the soft glow of lights and energy streams. Lysera turned to Ethan. "Do you see all of this?" she asked. "Our world, our city, our people. It is beautiful, yes, but it is also fragile. And yet I believe that together, humans and Xylarians can create something even stronger. We can learn from each other, support each other, and grow." Ethan nodded slowly. "I believe that too, Your Majesty. And I am honored to be a part of it. I may be human, but I will do my best to understand, to help, and to contribute in ways that are meaningful. If I can help create that future, I will." Lysera felt a sense of reassurance and pride. She realized that Ethan was not just a reminder of the past. He was a living example of what humanity could offer, a combination of courage, empathy, and intelligence that could inspire change. And she knew that their bond, built on trust and respect, could become the foundation for something far greater than either of them had imagined. Over the following weeks, Ethan continued to prove himself in various ways. He assisted in managing palace logistics, helped the Queen understand human perspectives for diplomatic discussions, and demonstrated creativity in problem-solving. Each action reinforced Lysera's belief that humans possessed qualities that were rare and valuable, qualities that could help bridge the gaps between species and strengthen alliances. In private moments, the Queen shared more stories about her husband, about the adventures they had shared, the lessons he had taught her, and the kindness he had shown to everyone he met. Ethan listened quietly, absorbing not only the facts but the essence of the man she had loved. It was clear to him that this connection, though unexpected, was shaping his understanding of both himself and the responsibilities he carried. One afternoon, as they walked through the gardens, Lysera paused near a soft pool of water. The reflections of the glowing flowers shimmered across the surface, creating a serene and magical atmosphere. "Ethan," she said softly, "I have learned something important since your arrival. Life is not about replacing what we have lost. It is about carrying the essence of those we love forward, honoring their memory, and allowing it to guide us towards something new. You are helping me do that." Ethan looked at her, feeling a deep sense of purpose. "I will do my best to honor that, Your Majesty. I cannot replace what was lost, but I can support the present and help build a better future. Together, perhaps we can achieve something remarkable." Lysera smiled, her heart lighter than it had been in many years. She realized that the human guard before her was more than just a reminder of the past. He was a bridge to the future, a living embodiment of the qualities she had admired and loved. And in that realization, she found hope, inspiration, and the courage to envision a world where humans and Xylarians could work together in harmony. As the sun set and the palace lights glowed softly, Lysera and Ethan sat together, observing the city below. The bond between them was no longer just curiosity or resemblance. It was trust, respect, and a shared vision of what could be. And in the quiet moments, when the world seemed still, both of them understood that the universe had a way of bringing the right people together at the right time. And perhaps, just perhaps, the arrival of a human guard was not only a reminder of the past, but the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with hope, understanding, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. The morning sky above Xylaria was a calm, soft blue, streaked with pink light from the rising suns. The city below gleamed like a network of living jewels, its crystal towers reflecting and refracting the colors in every direction. Queen Lysera stood on the balcony of the palace, her green eyes focused on the horizon. Today was an important day. Representatives from multiple species across the galaxy were gathering for a diplomatic ceremony designed to strengthen alliances, share knowledge, and celebrate peace. Ethan, the human guard who had become an unexpected companion and advisor to the Queen, stood beside her. He wore the ceremonial attire of the delegation, simple but elegant, and carried himself with calm confidence. Over the past weeks, he had proven his intelligence, patience, and integrity in ways that had earned the Queen's trust and admiration. But today would be the true test, how humans, and especially he, could contribute to interstellar cooperation. "Are you ready?" Lysera asked, her voice gentle but steady. Ethan nodded. "I am, Your Majesty. I hope I can be of help." Lysera smiled faintly. You already have been. Today is just another step forward. As the ceremonial hall filled with representatives, Ethan observed quietly, taking note of customs, gestures, and expectations. Different species had their own unique ways of showing respect, and misunderstandings could cause awkwardness or offense. Yet Ethan remained calm, listening carefully, adapting naturally. His attention to detail and sensitivity to others' cultures impressed both the queen and the attending ambassadors. The ceremony began with a series of greetings and exchanges of gifts. Zalarian customs were intricate, involving flowing gestures, harmonious sounds, and the presentation of glowing objects that symbolized goodwill. Ethan assisted the human delegation, explaining customs and helping them adjust their actions to avoid unintentional missteps. When it came time for speeches, Lysera addressed the assembly. Her voice was clear and steady, carrying both authority and warmth. Representatives of the galaxy, she began, we gather today to celebrate understanding, cooperation, and the shared values that unite us. In our time together, we have seen examples of courage, wisdom, and empathy that inspire hope. Among them, humans have shown remarkable qualities, curiosity, creativity, and a moral strength that guides their actions. Her eyes briefly met Ethan's, and she allowed herself a small smile. He had reminded her of a past she cherished, but he also embodied the qualities she now praised publicly. Ethan felt a quiet sense of pride, tempered by humility, knowing that his efforts were recognized, but that the purpose of the day was greater than any individual. Following the Queen's speech, a challenge arose. A technical issue with one of the ceremonial devices threatened to interrupt the event. A glowing orb, designed to symbolize interstellar harmony, had stopped pulsing. Many delegates looked uncertain, unsure how to proceed. Ethan stepped forward calmly. Your Majesty, he said softly, I may be able to help. Lysera nodded. Go ahead, Ethan. He examined the orb carefully, noting its connections and energy flow. With precise, patient movements, he adjusted a series of small controls, restoring the orb's gentle pulse. The light spread smoothly, illuminating the hall and drawing gasps of appreciation from the assembly. Lysera's eyes shone with pride. Well done, Ethan, she whispered. Your calm and careful thinking has saved the moment. Ethan smiled briefly, feeling the warmth of her praise. Thank you, Your Majesty. I am glad I could help. The ceremony continued, and humans were recognized for their contributions to interstellar understanding. Ethan spoke gently with other delegates, sharing perspectives, explaining customs, and helping foster connections. His thoughtfulness and patience created bridges that many species appreciated, but did not always know how to achieve. Later, during a moment of quiet, Lysera invited Ethan to walk with her along the palace gardens. The twin moons were rising, casting a soft silver glow over the flowers and streams. Ethan, she said, you have shown the very best of humanity, not just in skill but in character. Your kindness, patience, and understanding have inspired those around you. Ethan felt a quiet warmth. Your Majesty, it is an honor to serve and to learn. I have seen the wisdom and beauty of Zalaria, and I hope to contribute in ways that are meaningful. Lysera nodded. You have already done more than you realize. Humanity is not just a species to be observed. It is a force for goodness, understanding, and creativity. You have reminded us of that truth. As the ceremony concluded, representatives from various species gathered for shared meals, cultural demonstrations, and storytelling. Ethan participated fully, helping to facilitate conversations and ensuring that all attendees felt welcome. His presence encouraged mutual respect and understanding, creating connections that might otherwise have been missed. During a quiet moment, Lysera and Ethan stood together on a balcony overlooking the celebration below. The air was filled with soft laughter, gentle music, and the light of countless glowing orbs. Lysera spoke softly, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. Ethan, she said, when you arrived, I did not know what to expect. I thought perhaps you would be just another human visitor, but you have proven yourself in ways I never imagined. You remind me of someone I once loved, yes, but you have also shown me the potential of humans in the present and the hope they can bring for the future. Ethan looked at her, feeling the depth of her words. Your Majesty, I am humbled. I do not seek recognition, but I will always strive to act with respect, fairness, and thoughtfulness. If I can help foster understanding and goodwill, I will do so gladly. Lysera smiled, a genuine warmth shining in her eyes. You already have, Ethan. And the galaxy is better for it. Over the next several days, the celebration continued with cultural exchanges, lessons in diplomacy, and demonstrations of innovation. Ethan assisted the Queen and her advisors in every way he could, always observing, learning, and adapting. His human perspective offered fresh solutions and insights, and his calm demeanor inspired trust and cooperation. The Queen began to reflect on what his presence truly meant. Ethan was not a replacement for the past, nor was he the human she had loved long ago. He was something entirely new, a living example of the best of humanity, carrying qualities of courage, kindness, and wisdom that could inspire her people and others across the galaxy. One evening, after the ceremonies had concluded, Lysera invited Ethan to join her in the palace gardens once more. The air was filled with the soft fragrance of glowing flowers, and the streams reflected the light of the twin moons. They walked in silence for a while, enjoying the serenity. Ethan, Lysera said softly, the past has shaped us, yes, but it is the present and the choices we make today that define the future. You have reminded me that humans can embody the very qualities we most admire: kindness, courage, and the ability to understand others. You have brought hope not only to me but to all who witness your actions. Ethan looked at her, feeling a quiet sense of purpose. Your Majesty, I will continue to do my best. I may be human, but I hope that the qualities I carry can help create understanding and trust. I want to honor the connection you have shared with your past and contribute to a better future. Lysera smiled, a sense of peace settling over her heart. You already have, Ethan, more than you realize, and the galaxy has taken notice. Humans, through you, are being recognized not for power or dominance, but for empathy, intelligence, and moral strength. You remind us all of what humanity can offer. Days turned into weeks, and Ethan remained in Zalaria as a trusted advisor and honored guest. He continued to assist in diplomatic matters, teach about human culture, and help facilitate cooperation among species. The Queen relied on his perspective, valuing his calm wisdom and thoughtful insights. Through it all, the bond between Lysera and Ethan grew stronger, not as replacements for the past, but as partners in the present, building a future filled with possibility. They shared laughter, thoughtful conversation, and quiet moments of reflection. And though Ethan was not her lost husband, he carried qualities that reminded her of the best of humanity, qualities that could inspire change across the galaxy. In the end, the human guard had arrived and not only reminded the Queen of what she had lost, but also showed what could be gained. Through his presence, the Zalarian Empire learned to see humans not as unpredictable or fragile, but as beings of courage, empathy, and integrity. And for Queen Lysera, he brought something even more profound: a renewed sense of hope, a reminder of the enduring power of goodness, and the possibility of a future where humans and Zylarians could thrive together. As the twin moons cast their light over the palace gardens one final time, Lysera and Ethan stood side by side, looking out over the city. The quiet hum of life below reflected a universe full of possibility. The Queen turned to Ethan, a smile of genuine warmth on her face. "Thank you, Ethan," she said softly, "for reminding me of what we can achieve, for showing us the best of humanity, and for being here when the galaxy needed it most." Ethan nodded, a sense of calm pride in his heart. "It is an honor, Your Majesty. And I will continue to do my best always." And so, with the stars shining above and the city of Zalaria glowing below, a new chapter began, one where humans and Zylarians worked together in trust, understanding, and shared purpose. The human guard had arrived, and in doing so, he had changed not only the Queen's life, but also the future of the galaxy. The story of connection, respect, and the human spirit became a tale celebrated throughout the Empire, a reminder that courage, kindness, and empathy can inspire even the most advanced civilizations. And in that light, the Queen knew that the future was brighter than she had ever imagined.